Once again, it's on. You know what time it is. It's time to play some toss. Welcome, everyone, to episode 140. That's right, 140 of Toss, Tristain on Sports Show. It is your main man, the common sense of sports, T-Sqaured, Tristain Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to keep it all in the state yet again on this edition of Toss because there's too much going on here in the state of Wisconsin to go anywhere else and talk about anything else. We got Milwaukee Bucks news, huge trade. You know about it, but we're going to discuss it. The Brewers, division champions, how are they looking heading into October? We'll discuss. And the Green Bay Packers. Euphoria this past Sunday. An absolute ass whooping this past Thursday. We got to talk about the duality and why you could be mad, but patient. We'll get into it. You all know how we get things started here on Toss. We get things started with the state of the state. And again, there is far too much going on in this state to go anywhere else. So no Toss sweep this week. Okay, we could talk about WNBA playoffs and how I got all those picks right. We could talk about those things another day. We got Charlo and Canelo getting ready to go at it on Saturday. We could talk about that another day. We got to talk about Wisconsin sports. We start off with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I wasn't even going to mention Milwaukee until October's episode, the first episode we do in October, because that's when they start coming back. Training camp gets underway. Preseason gets underway. They're starting to get revved up for the season to open up on October 26th against the 76ers. So things were flowing right into the moment that we all thought it was going to be. For the most part, we thought that the rosters were all set. Giannis rehabbing that knee surgery that he had, getting healed up and healthy. Working with the dream, Hakeem Olajuwon. We discussed all that. Things were coming into form and into shape and into the normal cycle for the Milwaukee Bucks. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, and I'm kicking myself over this because I had heard the whispers of this and I did not get the traction on it. I didn't go and look into it. So in that sense, I feel like I failed all of you. I had heard the whispers, but I did not believe them. I had heard the whispers, but did not go and check on them. Did not do the legwork. Did not dig into it because I didn't believe that there was anything real to it. I did not believe there was real traction. But apparently the traction was very real. The Milwaukee Bucks trading Jrue Holiday, first rounder, I believe, in 2029. Pick swaps after that. Grayson Allen. Trading them away in order to get Damian Lillard. It was all part of a three-team trade. The Bucks will receive Damian Lillard. The Blazers getting Jrue Holiday, who they've already said that they will trade immediately. Blazers trying to build around youth with guys like Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons. But they'll get Jrue Holiday. They'll trade him away immediately. Their centerpiece of that, DeAndre Ayton. Again, an unprotected first-round pick of 2029 from the Bucks. Unprotected pick swaps in 2028 and 2030 from the Bucks. And then the Suns will receive Yusuf Nurkic, finally gone out of Portland. Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson. Suns finally ridding themselves of DeAndre Ayton. You knew that they wanted to just move on from him. He wanted to move on from them, wanted a fresh start. Well, now he's in Portland with the Blazers. But for all of this to materialize, and again, I'm kicking myself for not really digging into it because I had heard the whispers. Hey, there could be some real traction on this. You saw the social media post, and you saw Giannis picking Damian Lillard first in the All-Star game. You saw Damian Lillard, who really admires Giannis's game. These two guys have had conversations before. But the thing is, these guys are so loyal. Both of them wanted the other on their team, but neither one of them was willing to budge and move from their team. Now things have changed. Lillard requesting the trade. His GM at the time basically telling him when Dame wanted to rescind that trade request, he basically told him that there's no coming back. The Blazers wanted this. The Blazers were hoping for this. That's why they drafted Scoot Henderson. That's why they made the moves they did, because they knew they wanted to get younger. Damian Lillard is 33. Still very much a superstar, still very much a top 10 player in this league. And now you have quite arguably the best player in the world in Giannis, another top 10 superstar in Damian Lillard on the same team. Now, I will say this. It hurts like hell to see Jrue Holiday no longer a Buck. For what he did, not just on the court, but what he and his wife Lauren did off the court, will always far surpass anything that Jrue has done on the court and anything she's done on that soccer field. These are really, truly good people, and you wish them nothing but the best. But speaking purely from a player standpoint, you are going to miss the hell out of Jrue Holiday. The mentality that he brought, the defense that he brought, and I scroll through all these groups on Facebook. I scroll through all the comments on IG and Twitter and all that, and it's a bunch of casual comments from people who do not interact, do not have direct knowledge of who and what Jrue Holiday really brings to the table. Have not watched a true minute of actual regular season, through the mud, through the trenches, Bucks basketball, and understand the kind of player he is. They don't get the number one seed without his play. He was probably the hottest player in the NBA for a good stretch there when Giannis was out, when Chris was out. Even when those two guys were in, he was still on an absolute heater. Made things tough defensively, but everyone wants to take one bad defensive series against Miami, who Miami had everything go well for them. People tend to forget that they won the Eastern Conference Championship. They went to the NBA Finals. You don't just luck up and do that. The Heat were a team that were really good. They just weren't healthy to begin with. Then they got healthy. Then they had to kind of get back into game shape. They did that, and they got hot at the right time. I'm not taking one bad series and say, oh, well, Jrue can't play the type of defense that he used to. Are you serious? Jimmy Butler goes God mode, and all of a sudden he can't play defense. Even Jrue admitted, man, I got cooked. But there was nobody that was going to stop Jimmy Butler. This man can still play at a high level. And then you got people breaking down his shooting percentages in the playoffs. Okay, yeah, he leaves a lot to be desired a little bit in the playoffs there. But that's when everybody else has to step up, because he's going to give you everything he's got defensively. But everyone has to play their role, and they have to be stars in their role. That is the only way you win a championship, and that is what Jrue allowed and helped the Bucks to do just a few seasons ago. whoever he lands with. If he lands with a team that's a couple pieces away, he's going to be a big boost to someone's defensive prowess. And you're going to hate going up against him because he does make life difficult. But you are going to miss the hell out of Jrue Holiday. One thing this trade did do was make you just a tad bit worse defensively. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. For as talented on defense as Dame is, he's not close to Jrue Holiday level on the defensive end. No knock on Dame. You're thrilled to have him. He's a guy and he's a piece that you were missing past couple of seasons. You needed somebody that could score, that could be clutch, that could score in the clutch. You essentially needed another killer. You know Giannis is going to go do it. Who's going to go and do it with him? And the best ability for an athlete is availability. We've seen Chris do this in the past, but he hasn't really been available. Dame has had his own injury issues, getting shut down last season. Now it's coming out that they shut him down so they can get a better draft pick. You wonder if the NBA is going to investigate that, something that's worth investigating, not what Jimmy Butler's trying to do. All these flavors that he chews salty. But I digress. Wish nothing but the best for Jrue Holiday. I'm going to hate going up against him. You're going to miss the hell out of him. But you are absolutely thrilled to have Damian Lillard, again, another top 10 superstar on this squad. Emotional, yes. Had to give up something to get something. Front office apparently did not consult with Giannis. Have not been able to completely confirm that. Seems to be true. Giannis finally coming out. Everybody's trying to make a big deal that Giannis hadn't come out and said anything because they heard the story that John Henson, former Bucks big man, said that, oh, well, there was a trade in place for Jimmy Butler when he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves to come to Milwaukee for Chris Middleton. And Giannis basically was like, hell no. Because he cares so much about Middleton. Yeah, he does care about Middleton. You saw when he won the championship. We did it. We effing did it. Who did he say that to? Chris. That's his brother. But if you think for 1 second that he cares more about Chris Middleton than he does about Jrue Holiday, again, it's a casual opinion. You don't know. And you should probably be quiet. It's okay to admit that you don't know something. It's the problem these days. People try to come out and spew these hot takes that they don't know shit. That man loves Jrue. That's his brother. Been through the battles. Finally came out and he spoke on it. So don't think for 1 minute just because he didn't say anything. Yeah, he probably needed a minute to process it. You kid me? You get that close to someone, and that's someone's family, and you go and you achieve the ultimate in your profession, winning the NBA championship. And knowing how much he means to the team and to the community and how much he loved being a Buck and how just the day before he said he was a Buck for life, he doesn't want to play for any other team, and now he's gone. And some people think that that's going to cause some sort of a rift between Giannis and the front office. No, it's not. I've said it on this program before. Yes, you have to treat your superstars a certain way than you would anyone else. They're the ones who put asses in seats. They're the ones buying all the stuff from the concessions. They're the ones buying all the stuff from the merchandise stores. They're the ones that are buying all these high-ass tickets. You have to treat them a certain way. And when you have a generational talent who has brought you to the promised land, can bring you to the promised land multiple times more, and you want to keep him in the fold, yeah, there's probably a little bit of consultation you should probably do with that player. But ultimately, you were hired to do a job. You have to take care of your relationships with your players, especially your star players, but it is not your job to kowtow to them. You have a team to run. You have a budget to nurture. You have a team to build and get better. John Horst did that. Don't consult Giannis. It's going to take something to get something, but it's going to keep you in championship contention. And it's something that you have not had your entire time here in Milwaukee, another top 10 player to play alongside you. That's not poo-pooing Chris. Chris is a multi-time All-Star. At one point, he was one of the better two-way players in the NBA. But he's been injury-riddled. He's aging. You can't call on him as much as you used to. Still think he's a very good player. He can still get it done. But he's getting to that point in his career with his age and his injuries that he's going to have to play a different sort of role. But still very much a part of the championship equation. Make no mistake about it. But when you have an opportunity to get another top 10 player to play alongside you, you take that deal. Regardless of how your star player may feel about you, take that deal. And it's a good decision because it's not like Dame has not played with another good big man. He's played with Jusuf Nurkic. He knows how to play that two-man game. I'm not saying that Nurkic is on the level of a Giannis. I'm not even saying that. But when healthy, which is, again, an athlete's best ability is availability, that's been a problem with Nurkic. He's not had enough availability. But when he was healthy, he and Dame were running that two-man game with Terry Stotts, who is on your staff. Creating that offense. It was tough to stop. I look forward to seeing a lot more of that. I think head coach Adrian Griffin is going to allow Terry Stotts to create the offense needed to get the best out of all these players and put them in the best spots to succeed. Kind of an offensive coordinator situation. Having Dame again, a guy who has experience with being in Milwaukee, a team that he used to be the head coach for, knows the city, knows the fan base. The pieces of this puzzle are coming together beautifully. And sometimes you just got to do what needs to be done without consulting others. Does this make them championship favorites? Absolutely it does. Anytime you see two top 10 players get together, it definitely vaults you up there, and especially with a pretty solid team around you. Now, player development is going to be paramount in this. We need to see MarJon minutes. The two rookies they drafted. They need to take steps forward. But you have a good team who has chemistry. You added another top 10 player to it. Will there be some learning and some hiccups to begin with? I think so. Absolutely. But once they gel, and once this whole thing comes together, It's going to be a beautiful thing. I get goosebumps just thinking about the pick and roll and the dribble handoffs you're going to have between Dame and Giannis. You roll with Giannis to the basket, you're going to leave Dame wide open. He's going to hit it from the logo. You stay on Dame, he's going to dump it off to Giannis. He's going to get nothing but dunks. Because, apparently that's all he can do because he has no bag. It's yet to be seen how new head coach Adrian Griffin is going to run things defensively, offensively, who he's going to play, rotations, all that. It's not Mike Budenholzer anymore. It's going to be very different. So there are a lot of factors that we just don't know about yet. But what we do know are about the players on this team, the chemistry they have, the chemistry they can develop with Dame now there, and how damn good this team is going to be. This revenge tour is going to be something to absolutely see. Huge trade. Heard the whispers, did not believe them, and I'm kicking myself because of it. But you are elated that Damian Lillard is now a Milwaukee Buck. It's almost surreal. Continuing here on Tall State of the State, let's talk Milwaukee Brewers. Lost their game a couple nights ago. Looked like a clinching scenario for the division. Will be put on hold. They were going to have to move that furniture back, take the champagne and beer back. But then the Cubs, who had a 6-0 lead, they're going up against the Braves. You know how potent that offense is. Cubs coughed it up, or the Braves took it, whatever way you want to look at it. Braves won that game 7-6, thus clinching the Central Division for the Milwaukee Brewers. Congratulations, division champions. I believe for the second time in the last 3 seasons. They had already clinched the playoff berth a few days prior. Now they clinch the division, which means their first round or wild card round series will be held at AmFam, all 3 games if necessary. It is a best of 3. It means you need to get 2 wins. That whole series will be held at AmFam, a.k.a. Miller Park, and you love to see it. What you don't love to see is this offensive consistency or inconsistency. It still worries me, and I know we talk about it ad nauseum on this program. It's because it's still happening. Remember when they went and smacked the team around 16-1? I believe it was the Marlins. They smacked around 16-1. And then the next game, I believe they lost, and they only scratched across 1 run. I mean, this is how it goes. I mean, this is how it's been with their offense. Now, they got a big, huge piece back in Garrett Mitchell, who went down earlier in the season with a shoulder injury, came back way earlier than expected. They were not expecting him to come back this season. There was a small chance that he could, but they were absolutely not expecting him to come back this season. Came back, got on base 3 times. Looked pretty good at the plate. Shoulder looked like it's holding up. That's a huge piece to get back. Maybe he gets it. He's going to need some at-bats. Get back in the swing of things, no pun intended. But that is a great piece to have back at this point. Get him some at-bats in regular season as you wind it down. Just a couple of games left. Final series against the Cubs. Cubs still fighting for a playoff spot. Brewers with a chance to ruin their plans. But that offense still concerns me. Pitching doesn't concern me as much. Craig Counsell will get the right rotation in there, get the right out-getters in there, put them in the best positions to succeed. So the pitching, I'm not worried about. I've never been worried about the pitching. It's always been this hitting. They have to find some sort of consistency. Postseason begins this upcoming Tuesday. You better find some consistency at the plate. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick playoff series for you. Continuing here on an all state of the state edition of Toss, the Green Bay Packers. Oh, the Green Bay Packers, fresh off an ass whooping. Thursday Night Football against the Detroit Lions on Quick Toss, which you can see on Facebook. That's facebook.com/T-On Sports Show. That's T-O-N Sports Show. And fan base. Look us up at T-Sqaured. Also on YouTube at Toss Nation Media. You can see it in all three of those places. I said originally I wanted to go with Detroit. I felt that with them missing, meaning the Packers missing 2 Pro Bowl linemen and Bakhtiari, who got put on IR, and Packers are not expecting him back this season. Apparently he already had a procedure on the knee. He's looking to get another procedure. That knee has been extremely problematic. I think there's something more going on with it than what we all know. It has been problematic for about 2 years now. That's scary to think about. Elgton Jenkins, also on the IR, so he's not going to be back for a few games. He's got a better shot at coming back than does Bakhtiari, again, who the Packers are not expecting back this season. But I said with those two out, even if they were in, Detroit still likes to get after the quarterback and can do so and have shown so against that Packers line. I said with Christian Watson being back and with Aaron Jones being back, that Jordan Love would be able to get the ball out quicker. That didn't happen. It should have happened, especially with this defensive front of Detroit. You get that ball out quicker, you're going to slow that rush down. It's going to give you some running room, and it's going to then turn and give you balance. And they didn't do that. Now, they did a little bit of it in the second half. Christian Watson scoring his first touchdown in his first game of the season. A little 1-yard dump. But they just really could not get anything going. But yet found themselves still in the game. The defense, again, came back in the second half and did a couple of good things, and then they did some not so good things. Quay Walker with another just mystifying, stupefying play. Jumping over the line on a field goal attempt, which is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, giving Detroit a first down. First to goal, then they go and punch it in with David Montgomery. RIP to my fantasy team, because the team that I'm playing has David Montgomery on it, and he scored 30+. But I digress. You come back and you get stomped in after the euphoria of a 17-point comeback to win 18-17 game against the New Orleans Saints just days before on Sunday. That first half was ugly too, and then you knuckled up and you got the job done. You did not allow New Orleans to score again that game. Again, I saw traits of that heart and that resolve in the second half. I did not see any of it in the first half. It was just god-awful. You remember what I said about coaching. It is your job as coaches to put your players in the best position to succeed. I did not see Joe Barry do that enough. I did not see Matt LaFleur do that enough. And then he has the gall to pull his team aside, his offense aside, and lay into them. Now, everyone is to blame in this. Matt LaFleur not putting players in the best position to succeed, not calling the right plays to succeed. Players not executing, not the best decision making. Defense, the same thing. Not tackling not giving a damn about stopping the run. Joe Barry putting guys in the absolute worst positions. Why do you play a dime defense in a goal-to-goal situation when they've been running it down your throat? It makes no sense. All that is okay to be 1,000% pissed off about. You could be unhappy with Matt LaFleur. You could be unhappy with Joe Barry. You could be unhappy with Quay Walker and everybody else on the team. It's 100% justified. But there's two things you can't do. You can't be hot takey about it and fly off the rails about it. And you can't have unwarranted expectations. There's some people out there who believe this team is a double-digit winning team that could go deep in the playoffs. I'm not one of them. There's a reason why they call me the common sense of sports. Because as much as I cover these teams that I enjoy, I'm going to tell it truthfully, opinionatedly, and passionately. This is not a team that I can see winning double digits. Not off the bat. If you're asking me at the beginning of the season and just looking at all the games, I didn't see double-digit wins for this team. I didn't see a playoff berth or even a playoff run, a deep playoff run for this team. Damn sure ain't seeing the Super Bowl for this team. Because they're young, and they're learning, and they're growing, and they're learning how to win together. They're currently 2-2. They're a fourth quarter meltdown in Atlanta away from being 3-1. Think about that for a second. This team has a lot of talent in every phase of the game. Special teams, defense, offense. Now, they are having some injury issues, yes. But even with those injury issues, they've shown heart. They've shown an ability to execute. Not as consistent as you would want it, but they've shown it. But on the flip side of that coin, again, they've shown inconsistencies with performances. And they've shown their youth, their inexperience. It's okay to be mad about how things went in Atlanta. It's okay to be mad about how things went in the first half against the New Orleans Saints. It's okay to be absolutely livid about what happened against Detroit on Thursday Night Football. But putting undue expectations on this sort of team with a guy who's in his first year as a starter in the NFL, still trying to figure it out, a young receiving core, trying to figure it out, a young defense, trying to figure it out, even though they're trying to do so despite a sometimes inept defensive coordinator. And a head coach who he's got really good offensive concepts. And when it works beautifully. But when he's not calling the correct plays for what these guys are trying to do and for what this defense is showing and not utilizing players to the best of their abilities, it's maddening. It makes you question a lot. It makes you raise your eyebrows, as I said on social media. It's okay to be mad about a loss. It's okay to be mad about them not showing up. It's okay to be mad about, the coaches. It's okay to be mad about all that. But understand that this is part of the process. We have to be patient. We have to show patience. This team is not winning the Super Bowl in this year. Probably not next year. But if we see tangible improvement from Jordan Love, we see continued growth from Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson can be healthy, and we see another high step from him. Luke Musgrave at the tight end spot. Get some guys who can play O-line and stay healthy. Do you see them take tangible steps forward and the performances become more consistent? Not consistently bad, consistently good. Then this season is truly a win. Be mad, but be patient. Well, y'all, that'll do it for me on episode 140 of Toss. You know where to find me on social media. I'm everywhere. At T-Sqaured on Fanbase. At the20double on X. Facebook.com/T-On Sports Show. That's T-O-N Sports Show. Find me on Threads. At T-Sqaured or at the20double. One of the two. Find me there. But we are everywhere. And of course, TossNationMedia.com. Your home for the Toss brand of sports. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports is what you deserve. But as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. It's T-Sqaured, Tristain Thomas, reminding all of you to keep it moving forward. Always forward. Forward always. Until next week, so long from Toss.